Hello, hello. I'm going to be talking really fast and going through all this content really, really quickly. I basically condensed a lot of the content into a very short presentation version, so that you guys could get the max amount of value. So I did a little intro of myself, but Chris Rawlings, I've founded personally 5 multi-million-dollar ventures that I've wholly owned. But then companies that I've invested in or partnered with to grow through my partnership program, I'm now at the point where I actually have hundreds of portfolio companies. So I've done this a lot. 3 out of those 5 ventures that I founded that made it into the millions, that's only the ones that worked. A lot of them failed too. But 3 out of those 5 were e-commerce brands, e-commerce companies. I first got into this space by launching a brand that I grew to mid 7 figures, exited, launched. This should be 2,400 products. That number is just a little bit old, but I've launched now over 2,400 products on Amazon.com. I mentor in a lot of masterminds, including in Titan Networks, highest level mastermind for their 8-figure sellers. But I've also dipped into other spaces. I'm the co-founder of a crypto fund called 22xfund.com. But now my primary focus is Sophie Society, where I partner with brands and we create basically joint ventures to help them scale. And I'll share some of those stories here. And so what I'm going to go over this session is what works now to launch and rank products on Amazon and all the fundamentals. I'm basically going to be sharing with you as much as I can in a condensed small period of time as I can on what's working right now. And some things are consistent over the past 2 to 3 years, but a lot of things are also different. The shift of what's important and what's less important has changed a lot over the past 18 to 24 months on Amazon, and even some things in the last just 6 months. Some elements of a launch have become much more powerful to focus on. So this will give you an updated now Q3 2024 view of how to launch and rank your products on Amazon now. I'm a very communal guy, so this will be the end of my little intro, and I swear we're just going to get right into the value. But that's me at 500 Startups. 500 Startups is a tech accelerator that has a lower acceptance rate than Yale, Harvard, Princeton, or any Ivy League university. It's super elite. I went in there with one of my startups, and I've always been the type of person that wants to share information with other people and likes other people sharing information with me. So I just like to be communal. I actually lived in a co-op where we all shared living expenses and stuff. My Instagram tag is hippie mogul. I'm a bit of a walking contradiction, but yeah, I just like to share. I feel that, me lighting your candle doesn't take any fire from me, and you lighting my candle takes no fire from you. It just gives us both light, right? So that's my attitude. I share information like this regularly. AMZScout, who's co-hosting this webinar with me, has been a partner of mine for a long time. I think they're great at this too. They have the exact same attitude as me. I have a lot of respect for them, and they're people. They work really hard over there to share value. So I say all that to say, if you resonate with this, you can continue following me. I'm on LinkedIn. I post on YouTube every week. We have an email list as well. And I'd also recommend you guys follow AMZScout. They have an excellent YouTube channel with really good info. They're great at finding people that actually know what they're talking about, which is super cool. So, all right, last slide on me. Well, actually, I think I have 2 or 3 more here, and then I'll get right into the value. But just so you know, the principles we're going over are ones that I personally learned either through me or my team that partners with brands to scale them. And we have brands at every scale. So we have brands that we're launching their first product, and then we have brands that are doing 5 million per month in revenue on Amazon that we've been partnered with for years, that we help scale, and everything in between. So we've run the whole gambit. And my attitude has always been to start from experimentation. This is me when I was, I think, 12 years old. I got a bunch of the free CDs they give out at Blockbuster, back when Blockbuster was a thing. This tells you how old I am. And I turned it into this parabolic reflector that could light anything on fire within seconds by focusing all of the light into one point. That was what kind of super nerd I was. I ended up going on to get a degree in physics, thought I was going to follow the path of science, but I ended up going into the world of entrepreneurship instead. But I carried along that attitude of experiment in the real world to find what works. This is why I'm saying all the things I'm sharing are not from some YouTube video or some blog that I'm rehashing into a webinar or something like that. This is what me and my team actually do to produce results, period. So I'm saying all that to say, when I see a presentation like this, the first question on my mind is, why should I listen? Why should I care? Why should I trust you? Is this legit? And so I'm answering the question for myself, for you, that I would be asking in my head. This is another little nerdy thing I did. This was in 2014. I built a Bitcoin operated beer vending machine. This was later commissioned by Anheuser-Busch as part of a tech experiment that they were doing. I programmed and created the entire thing, in my bedroom, my early 20s here, before I had a beard. So, all right, enough of that, enough preamble. Let's get into the value. I'm going to start talking really fast, guys, so make sure you have a pen out or your OneNote open or something like that. So ranking on Amazon, how it's changed. So yeah, maybe 2 years ago, 18 months ago, you could send out a bunch of rebates, use super URLs or search find buys, and rank within a couple days just by forcing Amazon's algorithm to listen to you, right? And then Amazon cracked down on that, and that's really no longer a practical, viable, compliant option that's safe for most sellers to do. Amazon now is really good at cracking down on anything that is like a hack, a ranking hack. And they're also really good at making you use their platform. So therefore, what's happened is Amazon PPC has become the primary tool for ranking. And that's why I'm going to focus a lot of this presentation, not all of it. There's going to be a number of different elements to this presentation about launching and ranking, but a lot of it is going to be focused on the PPC strategy. And that is because it is hands down the number one best way that you can rank. Now, there are other things you can do, like influencer traffic, Google traffic, other forms of external traffic, utilizing an email list. These things do help and they're important. And if you have the capability to do them, they definitely add to the value and the speed at which you can launch a product on Amazon. But by far, the number one thing you can do and the highest leverage thing you can do is have a tight and daily control of your PPC, Amazon PPC campaign structure. This is a fun little screenshot that I have up here on the screen. If you guys can see this, what's highlighted in blue here is the organic result. And this is just 3 full scrolls of an Amazon search. Now, this is an exaggerated space in this case. Sometimes you'll see more, but everything that's not in blue is a sponsored ad. Look at that. So these ones are not sponsored. Everything else is. So we're now at the point where it's not always like this, like I said, but generally you'll find if you search any term on Amazon, you go through the first 4 full scrolls, the first 4 full screens, more than half is ads. It's typically between 50 and 70% of the resulting space for products is ads. So that tells you how important it is. Organically ranking is important, but Amazon has become a pay-to-play space. Now, should we just complain about that? Now, do we just have to give you more of our money to Amazon? Well, it's not necessarily that simple, because even though it's a pay-to-play space and there's that many ad spots now, all that means is that the sophisticated sellers that know how to run ads properly and know how to set their bids, know how to set their budgets, know what campaigns to turn on and turn off and when, know what to target in terms of keywords and other ASINs, know how to use custom creative. Those are the ones that are able to do this economically and profitably. And the ones that are not doing it in a sophisticated way are losing all their money, and that money is going into the pocket of the ones that do. So everything I just said, we're going to cover today. What to bid, what to budget, what to target, what keywords to target, and how to find them, what ASINs to target, which campaigns to spin up and in what order. We're going to talk through all of that today, all relating to launching and ranking products. Now, it's a whole different science when you have a product that's been on Amazon for a long time and it's been ranking for months or years, and you're trying to optimize the PPC to pull profits out. We're not going to be covering that today. That's a different topic. And this is something that I cover extensively in our 5-day event. We actually have one coming up in September of this year, September 2024. We go through every phase of the product lifecycle. We're not focusing on those later stages right now. Today, we're focusing on launching and ranking. That's all we're focusing on. Pulling profits out of a legacy product that has already tens of thousands of reviews, that's a whole different science. And there's a whole different structure to that. So you can't apply one to the other. Those are very different situations. We're covering launching and ranking today. So yeah, all these slides just to say a lot of page one is paid. So we're at the point where the best way to get sales velocity, ranking, organic ranking, and visibility in general is using Amazon PPC, which is why a lot of this presentation about launching and ranking products is about PPC. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So launch PPC is different than steady state PPC. We're going to be focusing mostly on launch PPC. I'm going to touch on how you transition to a long-term sustainable PPC model, but we're mostly focused on launch. And what launch means is I either just put a product live on Amazon and I'm trying to get it ranking and trying to get it cemented in spots, ranking spots on Amazon, or I've had a product that I tried to launch, but I botched it, or I put it live and I didn't realize that I had to like execute a day-by-day launch. I just made it live and now it's kind of stale and I want to relaunch it. So both the launch and the relaunch, we're covering that today. It's essentially the same formula. So here's it boiled down. These are the main steps to a good launch. It's deep keyword research. And when I say deep keyword research, I don't mean what you see when you look up, when you see like some post about LinkedIn research on LinkedIn. I'm talking about segmentation that allows you to get data that give you insights that allow you to make everything else perform better because you segregated the keywords properly and you segregated your PPC campaigns in an alignment with those keywords. So I'm going to walk through what that actually means and what I'm talking about there, but this is so much deeper than anyone really realizes. I have a little tool for this that you guys can have if you want. Happy to share with you. It's what my internal team uses when we're doing keyword research. And then also I'm going to walk through how to use AMZScout's tool, which is an excellent keyword research tool as well, and how that fits into your launch strategy. The second thing is click-through rate optimization. This one is huge. I actually just released a video of this on YouTube. It's on my channel. If you just search Chris Rawlings click-through rate, you'll find it, or Chris Rawlings CTR. There are brands that have built 8- and 9-figure empires just by focusing on click-through rate. Literally, click-through rate is that big, and it's one that you'll never see in a presentation like this for some reason. And I think it's mostly because people that do presentations like this aren't always actually doing it themselves. They're kind of rehashing information that they heard somewhere else. The click-through rate is unbelievably important, and it deserves most of your attention. Like getting that dialed, you should be spending as much time on that as you should be spending on dialing up all of your PPC campaigns. One of my ex-clients, AJ Patel, he founded a company after I worked with him on a skincare company. He founded another company in the pet space called Zesty Paws. He exited that company for a dollar value that was the biggest Amazon exit in history. It was $610 million was the exit that he did over the course, and he built that company over the course of 6 years. This is my ex-client, AJ Patel. He did it largely due to his click-through rate optimization strategy. That's how big this is. If you look up Zesty Paws on Amazon, you'll find they are perfectly optimized to steal all the clicks from everyone who searches page one. So this is unbelievably important. I'm going to touch on this, but I'm not going to go anywhere nearly deep enough. I have the video that I posted on my YouTube channel. You can also search on LinkedIn. I have a whole article all about this. It's called The Ultimate Click-Through Rate Guide for Amazon Sellers. And it's really valuable. I highly recommend you guys go through it. Then is conversion rate optimization. And notice I put click-through rate first and then conversion rate. The reason is that you never get to try to convert them if they never clicked. in the first place, right? So we have to get them to click. Once they clicked and they're on our listing, now we can worry all about conversion. But if they never click, they're never going to convert. So click-through rate is all about optimizing your thumbnail, which is what people see in search results. They see a little primary image, they see your reviews, they see a title, they see some coupons, they see some other stuff. Click-through rate is all about optimizing that stuff. Conversion rate is all about optimizing your listing, everything they see on your product listing once they actually click. So your secondary images, your A+ content, the top voted reviews, your primary image, the title, the bullet points, all of that stuff, that's conversion rate optimization. Now, the reason that these things are before I get to what I said earlier was the most important part of a launch, which is PPC, is that your PPC is not going to be effective if your click-through rate and your conversion rate are not above benchmark for the page one competitors. So I'm going to say that again, and this is something that I would write down, because this is one thing that I would say 1 out of 20-ish sellers that I encounter that apply to be partnering with me to take over their PPC already are implementing or understanding. 19 out of 20 are not. And that is the click-through rate and the conversion rate should be above benchmark for the page one competitors in your space. And by benchmark, I mean the average click-through rate for page one competitors in your space and the average conversion rate for page one competitors in your space. How do you know what the average is? Amazon actually tells you. So Amazon's, I say new tools, they're actually not that new anymore. Inside Brand Analytics and inside Product Opportunity Explorer, you can find this data and or you can back calculate it from the data they give you. So Amazon actually tells you, some of it you have to back calculate, and I'm going to get into this in a little bit more detail a little bit further in the presentation. Some of this you can back calculate, but a lot of it you just get it directly. So go into Amazon, find out what the benchmark is by using Product Opportunity Explorer and Brand Analytics, and make sure that your click-through rate and your conversion rate is at or above that. If it's not, continuously work on the content of your listing, your primary image and your title, until you find one, and split test things until you get one that does put you above average. So find the number, whatever the number is for your space, that's your goal to hit or exceed for click-through rate, and then find the number, whatever the number is for your goal to hit or exceed for conversion rate, and don't stop split testing until you've hit or exceeded those numbers. That's it. So keep on doing that. Now, you're not going to know in the very beginning of a launch. There are tools that you can use like IntelliV to split test and get data back from shoppers kind of randomly online, but you're not going to know the real click-through rate and conversion rate until you actually launch. So this is something that you do during launch. You're continuously optimizing this, and you're not going to dump huge amounts of money into your PPC if you're way below. You got to fix that issue first. Then it's setting up rank-focused PPC and managing that rank-focused PPC. So it's only after you've done deep keyword research, optimized click-through rate, and optimized conversion rate that you're really dumping money into the PPC heavily and you're pouring gasoline on the fire. Then you can really step on the gas. And then finally, you execute a feedback loop between your PPC and your conversion rate and your click-through rate. And the way you do that is by getting data from the PPC and organizing the PPC in such a way that you can get data about different search term intents that allow you to increase the specific click-through rate and the specific conversion rate for particular search term intents. So now I'm not just talking about optimizing my click-through rate. I'm talking about optimizing my click-through rate for people that include would in the search term. Or I'm talking about optimizing click-through rate for people, all the people that include for mom in my search term. Get me? This is the wizardly stuff, guys. I hope you're paying attention. This is the ninja stuff. This is the level deeper that you need to go to compete on Amazon today. This is what the smartest sellers are doing. And I know some of you guys might be a little lost already. Don't worry. This is just the intro slide. I'm going to dive way deeper into all of this in this session today. Okay. So a couple of mindset things. So PPC now, it shouldn't be viewed as a cost, the PPC cost. It should be viewed as an investment. You're basically investing in a property, because what PPC does is it gets you ranking organically for keywords. And once you rank organically for keywords, you're getting free traffic from Amazon every day. So investing in PPC is almost like investing in developing a property where you might have like an empty property and you have to put money into building a house on it so that you can rent out that house and collect rental income, right? Well, investing in PPC is like that. You're investing in PPC so you can get these properties, these ranking spots. And then once you get that spot, you just collect the cash from people organically searching and finding that keyword. So PPC, even though in the beginning during a launch, you're not going to be making profit, you're not going to be making money off the PPC. You're investing in getting the organic placements, the properties, the real estate that are going to pull, you're going to pull rental income from. So in this like real estate analogy, the investment is you basically building a house on that property. So that's the way to think of it, PPC. And by the way, as long as you do these last things that I said in this last slide, the click-through rate optimization and the conversion rate optimization, you measure the benchmark for both for your space and you ensure that you're at or above it, Amazon will give you this because they want to give those spots to people who are above average, get more clicks and get more sales because that makes them more money, right? The problem with you launching and pouring PPC money into a product that has below benchmark click-through rate and below benchmark conversion rate is you can drive ranking for those products, but the ranking doesn't stick. You drive ranking and then you drop. You push PPC again, you drive it and then you drop. But if you have high click-through rate at or above benchmark and high conversion rate at or above benchmark, you drive ranking with PPC and you stay there. So that's the difference. When it comes to making decisions, always do it based on the data. Shouldn't be how you feel. So I'm going to talk through how to go through your PPC data and make good decisions on the data and feedback loops that you can put in place for these launch campaigns. But data-based decisions is key. And I'm going to actually give you guys a little format for how to track your data at the end of this. The more you can either spend time to get data or you can spend more money to get data. That's always the conundrum. Because the more money you put in PPC, you're driving sales velocity, getting more data to make quick iterations. Or if you have lower budget, you just have to wait time for that data to come in because you're getting less sales each day because you're not pushing that much traffic with PPC. So it's always a balance. Do you want to spend time or do you want to spend money or do you want to spend some balance of both to get that data so that you can use the data to act on the data and make your launch work better? Our goal during a launch is not to pull profits out. Our goal is to rank and get those properties that will pay dividends to us for months or years. It's not for us to start making money within the first couple of weeks. It does happen sometimes, and I actually have a few examples I'm going to share with you guys of that happening, but I'm here to be real with you guys and tell it to you like it actually is. And I do this every single week, sometimes every day, because I oversee a whole portfolio of hundreds of brands. So I know how this plays out, and I'm not giving it to you like a guru that's trying to sell you a course on how easy this is. The reality is during the launch period, the first 30 to 90 days, you shouldn't be expecting to pull profits out of this business or this product. Unless you have a really big email list and a launch list already and people are dying to get the product, that's a whole different story. But if you don't have that, your goal here is to get organic ranking spots that will then produce profits for the long term. You're not trying to profit immediately. Again, like I said, sometimes it happens, but it's rare. I'd say maybe 1 out of 10. And then you're always looking at units sold and tacos. Those are two huge metrics you're going to look at. Units is self-explanatory, how many units you sold in that day, that week. And tacos is your total average cost of sale, which is your ad spend divided by your total sales, not your ad spend divided by your sales from ads. That's ACoS. Tacos is your ad spend divided by your total sales. And the reason we focus on that metric is because that tells us whether we're getting ranking improvement because it factors in the organic sales. So now we know what our ad sales or what our ad spend is getting us in terms of not just ad sales, but organic ranking improvements. And that's why tacos is if we have units and tacos, that's really the only numbers that I really need to know whether this business is working. If you told me how the units per day changed over 6 weeks and how the tacos change over 6 weeks, wouldn't need to know anything else. I already know if this launch is going well. So make sure you guys are measuring these numbers. Okay, now we're going to get into the nitty gritty, and I'm going to get super tactical with you guys. And if I lose you, don't worry, you can pick back up. If you get a little lost at some point along the way, it's not the end of the world. You can pick back up where you left off, because I've separated this into sections. So just try to write it down. You can come back to it. There will be a way for you to watch this replay again in the future. So don't worry. If you get a little lost, it's fine. So rank focus PPC. I'm going to walk through exactly how to set up ranking campaigns and exactly what types of campaigns you should have. I'm even going to show you an example campaign structure of a launch and what a good campaign structure looks like, and how many of this type of campaign you need, how many of that type of campaign you need, exactly, just one by one. So I'm giving it all to you guys here, but I'm going to start with some tactical information so that you have like a general framework in your mind for how this should work. So PPC, rank focus PPC, should mostly be focused on top of search sponsored product ads and rest of search sponsored product ads. There are other things that lead you to ranking and help with a launch, plenty of things. You need some kind of discovery campaigns to pull new keywords out that are separate from the keyword research you did ahead of time. It's really good if you have custom creative to have sponsored brand video campaigns that target the same keywords. That helps drive ranking as well. But a lot of your spend, 60% or more of your spend, should be focused on top of search and rest of search sponsored product ads, not product placement ads. That can be part of it too, but it's a small minority. These are like the magic. So what I mean is, when you search on Amazon, the first row of ads that comes up, that's sponsored product top of search ads. Then as you scroll down the page, there's what looks like organic search results, but it's actually sponsored. That's rest of search ads. So that's really the majority of ranking. So here's what we're doing in a ranking campaign or a new product launch. We're trying to establish our ranking for particular keywords. We're getting sales velocity, which leads to reviews and also supports our establishing our rank. Our big milestone, where this is what we internally inside Sophie consider the launch has completed, is once we reach a profitable tacos. That means I'm no longer spending more than my total unit margin on ads. So say I have a $100 product and I have a 30% margin after all costs. So my cost of goods sold, my shipping costs, factoring in my average refunds, Amazon's FBA fee, all costs, I end up with $30 per unit for my $100 product, right? So my margin is 30%. If I'm spending 30% of my monthly revenue on ads, I'm just breaking even, right? If I'm spending 40 or 50% of my monthly total revenue on ads, I'm losing money. In the very beginning, you're going to be having a tacos that's bigger than your margin. So you're going to be having a net loss or something close to it. You could be break even too. That's common, but it's not common for you to be making money during a launch period. Once you get to that crossover point where your percentage of revenue going towards ads is less than your margin, you have now, what we would consider, you've now exited the launching phase and you're now into the expansion phase. You can kind of breathe a sigh of relief. This product is actually profitable now. It might be only slightly profitable by 2%, but I'm not losing money on the product. Now I can kind of step back, continue putting the foot on the gas, but you know that you're not going to be losing money on the product. You know this product is going to be a winner over time, and you just need to continue to nurture it. So that's like the magic transition point in a launch, is when you reach a profitable tacos. And you should know what that is in your head ahead of time. You should say, okay, this product is sustainable once my tacos gets below 22%, or this product is sustainable once my tacos gets below 18%, or whatever. You have that number in your head, and now you know what the goal is. And as John Dewar always says, what gets measured gets managed. Whatever that goal is, you end up moving the whole world to make that goal happen. So make sure you have that number ahead of time, and you constantly think about what to do to get there. Finally, during the launch phase, we're collecting data, PPC data and customer data, and that might sound nebulous. I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean by that. because you use data from your PPC to increase your click-through rate and get more free sales. And you use that data from your PPC to increase conversion rate and get more free sales. You do both. So that's key as well. All right. One thing that I want to quickly touch on here, something we call the Amazon product lifecycle. I have a whole video on this. It's about 40 minutes long, but it's totally worth the watch. Some of my team members have watched it 4 or 5 times because of how important it is. There are basically 3 phases that an Amazon product can be in: the launch phase, the expansion phase, or the harvest phase. The launch phase is you're just purely running traffic to drive organic ranking for keywords so you can solidify your spot and not be losing money on the product, get reviews, and get ranking spots. Expansion phase is you're not losing money on the product, but you're not making a huge amount of money. You have some ranking spots, but you are still pretty aggressively pushing it. And then harvest phase is this product is well secured in its organic ranking spots. It has a lot of reviews, usually in the thousands, sometimes even in the tens of thousands. And most of your goal with PPC is to pull profits out of the product. It's like a real estate asset that you're just trying to maximize the rent for. So these are the 3 stages of an Amazon product lifecycle. We're focusing on stage 1 here. And this is what stage 1 looks like. So in this stage, your tacos is usually between 20 and 50%. Again, guys, I'm giving it to you real. Like, some people are going to try to tell you that you could get less than this. It's possible. It's just very uncommon. You can expect your total percentage of revenue going towards ad spend to be between 20 and 50%. If it's 30%, that's totally normal. And some of you guys, maybe that sounds high if you haven't launched a product on Amazon before. But those of you guys that, you're coming to this presentation to launch your 5th or 6th or 20th or 30th product, I know you're nodding your head. You're like, yep, that's pretty much right. That's what you pay in the percentage of your total revenue to ads. So this is the real world, guys. This is how it works on Amazon now. Your A cost is going to be between 50 and 90%. Honestly, some spaces like supplements, for example, or other consumable spots, it can be higher than that. You might have 150%, 180%. And that's because in consumable spaces, big companies pay a lot for the first customer because they know that they'll be repurchased. So they know their ad spend is going to come back to them on the 2nd or 3rd or even 4th purchase because they know their repeat purchase rate. So any of you guys out there that are consumables, we have a whole separate protocol for our consumables brands and our high repeat purchase rate brands. More metrics you have to measure are your repeat purchase rate, which you can find inside brand analytics under repeat purchase behavior inside Seller Central, and your lifetime value, which you can back calculate from your repeat purchase rate. And the lifetime value really should just focus on 1 year. How many units on average do my buyers buy in 1 year of each product? So for consumables brand, make sure you're measuring that from the get-go as well when you're launching a new product. The launch is complete once your tacos is lower than your margin. You're still aggressively putting the foot on the gas, but you can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that you're not losing money every day on the product. Up until that point, you have the foot on the gas and you're constantly looking at the click-through rate and conversion rate to make sure it's above benchmark, and then continuing to put money into PPC. And as long as you have the PPC keywords segregated the way I'm going to tell you in this presentation, you will have the data that you need to make sure that your click-through rate and conversion rate is above benchmark. So don't worry about it. There are major milestones from a review perspective. When you start out with 0 reviews, you're not even going to know your click-through rate and conversion rate because it's going to be so dramatically different. Once you get to 5, that's a big milestone. Having 5 reviews is like infinitely better than having none. 21 reviews is another big milestone. Once you get, then you're kind of like in the dozens. And then the next big milestone after that is having over 100 or in the hundreds reviews. You want to get to these milestones as quickly as possible. So getting to 5 reviews, then getting to 21 reviews, then getting to over 100 reviews, that should always be the next goal in your mind. And you can affect reviews. And the primary way that you can do this is a compliant way where you include something with your product to get people onto your email list. Once they're on your list, you don't give them anything for a review. You don't mention reviews at all. That is against Amazon terms of service. You're just allowing them to get on your list by either giving them an ebook or a warranty or or a guide or even just a link to a video. Some people even do a free product that's really low cost. Doesn't really matter what it is as long as they sign up on their email list. So if you do this, you'll get about 4% of your customers signing up. Once you do that, then you just send them valuable information. And then down the line, 4 or 5 emails down the line in the email sequence, you ask them for a review, not a good review, just a review, and you don't offer anything in return. This is a Amazon compliant way for you to increase reviews. Amazon has no problem with you just asking someone to leave a review, but you got to get them on your email list first. So that's important. That's the way that you can affect that. This isn't a presentation about reviews. I'm focusing more on the PPC side of the launch, but this is something that you can affect. So those of you that think, oh, you just have to wait for them to come in, Amazon's average review rate is just shy of 1%. That means 1 out of every 100 orders will result in a review. Vine is another way you can affect this. Enrolling in Vine, sometimes you're going to get bad reviews where you're like, wow, guys, seriously, you got this product for free and you're going to give me a bad review? That's so lame. But yeah, Vine, and then what I just said, those are the 2 primary ways you can affect this in the early stages. So that's it. I railed through that really, really quickly. I have actually an entire presentation on that review system and walking through every step of that. That's not what this is about, but I wanted to just go through it quickly so you guys knew it was possible and knew it was important. When it comes to the different goal types, you know what? I'm actually going to cover that in another slide. Yeah, so your profit is negative, hopefully not too negative, but it's going to be negative at best break even. Or if you're one of the really lucky ones, it might be slightly profitable during this phase. And this phase lasts anywhere between 30 and 90 days. All right, now let's get into the actual campaign setup. So what do you do to launch your product? And especially, what do you do with your Amazon PPC to launch a product? Well, what you're going to do is you see these 3 main ad types, right? You got sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. We're going to be focusing on sponsored products. We also will have sponsored brands as part of this. And for some of you guys, the supplements and consumables products pretty much only, you'll have a little bit of sponsored display. Most of you guys can ignore sponsored display altogether. I'll just say that straight out. Like, don't even mess with it. If you're on the fence, just say no sponsored display. I'm going to focus on sponsored products. I'm going to have some sponsored brands. Don't even mess with sponsored display. If you're consumables and you're a supplement, that's the only exception where from the very get-go, you can have some retargeting campaigns in sponsored display. That's views retargeting and purchase retargeting. I'm not going to be covering the setup of those particular campaign types because they don't apply to most sellers. But again, if you want to learn more and go way deeper on this stuff, I would love for you guys to join our event that we have. We have a 5-day event happening at the end of September, and you're actually going to have the chance to join that at the end of this presentation. So that's cool if any of you guys want to learn more about that. So sponsored products is the main thing we want to focus on. Now, these are the 3 main ad types, right? We've got sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. But there are also 3 different placement types, and that's product pages, rest of search, and top of search. This is everywhere on Amazon the ads show up. They either show up when somebody searches a search term right at the top, or when somebody searches a search term down, scrolling down, like throughout the rest of the search, or when somebody searches a search term and then clicks on a product, the ads will show up on the product pages. That's it. There's really only 3 spots ads show up. It's these 3. So what do you focus on during a launch? You're going to focus primarily on this placement, the top of search placement, not only on it, but primarily on it. The other placement that you're also going to have as part of the launch is this one, rest of search here, right in the middle. So top of search and rest of search are the 2 that you're going to focus on with a more heavy influence on the top of search placement. Product pages is not going to lead you to the organic ranking that's necessary for you to focus on during a launch. It can sometimes provide leaner sales, so it can balance out the economics of a launch sometimes. And sometimes it can have some impact on your ranking just by increasing sales velocity. But in reality, the top of search and rest of search placements are what are going to give you a vast majority of your organic ranking results. So here's the old way of launching. And I'm giving this to you just so that those of you guys that are doing it this way, first of all, know that it's wrong and that it has to change. And second of all, to contrast it with the way that we do now. So I love this visual here. I kind of made up this visual concept. I'm a super visual guy. Back in the day, this is how you would do a product launch. You're starting fresh without knowing anything. So it's like starting with an empty block of marble. What is this going to be? What kind of statue am I going to carve this into? You set up auto campaigns so that Amazon could figure out what keywords you're going to convert for. And you let Amazon spend all your money to find which keywords to target. Then you spend a lot of money on that data and lots of time and weeks on getting that data. Then you create broad and phrase campaigns based on the keywords that are performing well in these auto campaigns. Auto campaigns, I mean automatic targeting, where Amazon is figuring out the targeting. You don't tell it who to target or what keywords or what people, buyer groups, or what product pages or anything. You just give them the product and you say automatic targeting. You go find who to target, Amazon. We don't want to do the work for ourselves. Amazon says, okay, I have no purchase history for this product. I have no idea who I'm going to show it to. I'll take some of the keywords that are in the listing and start there, and then I'll see who purchases. And they end up advertising the product for all kinds of irrelevant keywords and wasting a ton of ad spend. And this was how most launches were done prior to this past year and a half or so. So once the auto campaigns were created, you then create broad and phrase match campaigns to find specific search terms. And at that point, then you would create exact match campaigns for those search terms because you know they convert well. And now you've got a clear picture of what search terms convert well, and you put more ad spend into that. And now you're on a roll, right? But you wasted a lot of time and a lot of money letting Amazon start from scratch and find the search terms for you. This is the new way. We don't start with an empty block of marble. We start with our idea of what the picture should look like of the keywords that we think should convert by doing extremely deep and thorough keyword analysis and keyword organization. Then we go live on Amazon, and through getting data back from which of those keywords are working well and which aren't, we refine the picture and we chip away here and we chip away there. And then we end up with a super optimized picture of what targets work well for us and what don't, and what we should bid for them and which placements for those targets work best. And that's how we do it. So what does that look like? It means ahead of time, we conduct thorough keyword research to determine search terms with the highest probability of converting. Then we launch exact match campaigns for an initial set of these keywords right away. No auto campaigns letting Amazon spend our budget. And we start ranking and converting already because we already did the research up front to know with a pretty high degree of confidence that these keywords are going to perform for us. Then we adjust the budget allocation and bids according to what's actually performing in the real world. So we came in with our idea of what keywords are going to perform well with a high degree of conviction that they would because we did good research, but we're never going to get it perfectly right. The real world data comes back from our campaigns, and we ramp down the bids for the keywords that are not performing as well as we thought. And we ramp up the bids for the keywords that we are performing better than we thought. And we ramp down the placement adjusters for the placements that aren't working well. And we ramp up the placement adjusters for the placements that are working well. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm saying placement adjusters or ramping bids, I'm going to get into that. I'm even going to screen share what exactly it looks like inside the ad console. Don't worry, you guys are going to see all of that. So then then and only then do we launch research campaigns, broad phrase, and even auto campaigns with heavy restrictions to prevent wasted ad spend. And then we continue sharpening the original campaigns for better and better performance. That's what a good product launch looks like these days, which doesn't waste a bunch of your money. Now, does this mean that you're going to launch profitably? Still no. Still no. Like I told you guys earlier, I'm giving it to you real. I do this day in, day out, every single week. I've been doing it for 10 years now. It's very unlikely, even with this lean strategy, that you're going to launch and immediately start making profit from your first sale. It just doesn't happen very frequently. But if you do it right and you do everything you learn in this presentation, as long as the product is delivering a good experience, you're likely to reach profitability between 30 and 90 days. All right, so now I'm going to go through some screen share of what this actually looks like. This screenshot is actually from one of our partners. These guys were doing a relaunch, and okay. So I put this here just so I could show you guys that this isn't for just new products. When this brand came in and partnered with us, they were doing about 9.7K a month, and a lot of their products had just lost ranking. We implemented these protocols I'm about to go through with you, and this was 3 months later, we got them back up to 55K a month. They had actually been doing similar numbers a long time ago, but some of their products had lost rank. They had a few stock outs, and it really messed them up. So running this re-ranking protocol is what got them back to nearly the 7-figure range. After this, they did end up hitting a 7-figure run rate, but we got them from, doing barely even 6 figures to almost getting back to 7 figures. And it's through running this protocol. I'm going to show you guys some real examples of this, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to get into like screenshots of how to set up these campaigns and what to target, how to do the keyword research and all of that. But throughout this, of the screenshots and sharing, I'm going to be referencing this graphic right here. This is something we call the essential feedback loop. And I just want to describe it to you guys. I keep a copy of this on my desktop just so I could constantly remind myself of it. We always are railing it into ourselves and one another inside my company, because this is the essential loop that you need to constantly run and constantly be thinking of in order to make sure that you're staying ahead of the game and ahead of your competitors when executing a launch. So it's called the essential feedback loop. And what do we have here? By the way, I know my sketches are like kind of ugly. They're not like super like nicely designed and stuff. And the reason for that is we do everything in Miro so that we can constantly update it. I'm not doing this so that I could create marketing collateral. Like I'm sharing with you guys the frameworks that we use inside our company to produce actual results. So sometimes people are like, why don't you just get this like designed by a graphics designer? I'm like, I don't want to, because I constantly want to edit it and make sure it's always updated. So, and I'm not doing this so that I could like sell presentations or courses or something. This is so we can produce actual results. So yeah, if any of you guys are wondering why all my sketches are ugly, that's why. So what we have over here are the players, your PPC campaigns, your listing, and what should also be here is your thumbnail. So these are kind of your knights in shining armor. These are the players. These guys march out onto the battlefield every day. And that means they go out. Your PPC campaign is kind of like the horse. Your listing and your thumbnail are the guy riding the horse. So the PPC campaign is carrying your listing into Amazon search results. Otherwise, it wouldn't see the light of day. Then all day long, the action happens. Customers click on it and then they buy it. Some customers see it and they never even click on it. Other customers click on it, but then they click back off. Some customers click it, they click another product, then they click back to it and then they buy it. All these actions produce data. Actions of people seeing it produce data in the form of impressions. Actions of people clicking on it produce data in the form of clicks and click-through rate. And actions of people buying it produce data in the form of your conversion rate and your total unit orders. All of that data is collected in these 3 forms. Your business reports, of which there's multiple different types. Your PPC search term reports, of which there are even more types. And brand analytics and search query performance report, which is a sales-based report. This isn't like a market research report like Product Opportunity Explorer that has nothing to do with your product's actual performance. Brand analytics and search query performance report are tools within Seller Central that are based on your particular performance. So you don't get to use these unless you're selling. Whereas Product Opportunity Explorer is a tool that Amazon gives us that you could use anytime, even if you're not selling. That's the difference there. So All day, your PPC campaigns are carrying your listings and your thumbnails into battle. The act of battling is producing this data that we then pull in the form of PPC search term reports, our business reports inside business analytics, and our brand analytics and search query performance report, all of which is available inside Seller Central or the Ad Console. And here's the magic. This is the thing that most sellers just do not understand. You then, this is what the feedback loop is. You take the data from your search term reports, your business reports, your brand analytics, you analyze the data, draw insights from the data, and then you take action from those insights on the listing, on the thumbnail, and on the PPC campaigns. And this loop should be running every single week. And I mean, at very minimum, you should be doing this loop every month. For the PPC campaigns, you should be optimizing them about twice a week. For the listings and thumbnails, in the beginning of a launch, you should be optimizing it almost continuously, but you should be definitely doing it every week. You should probably be just split testing. You know, if you're below benchmark, you should be split testing nonstop until you find something that is above benchmark. But the point is, you use the data to inform what you do on the campaign. So if I see in my PPC search term report that a keyword is getting a lot of clicks and very low sales, that's wasting my ad spend. I want to turn off that keyword, right? So I took an insight from the data and I took action on it. But in the same way, this is the part that a lot of people miss, is the bottom half of this loop. Where's the camera? There we go. So the top, a lot of people get taking the data and taking actions on the campaigns based on the data. I'm negating a keyword. I'm upping a bid for keywords that are working well. I'm decreasing a bid for keywords that aren't working well. But what people miss is the bottom part of this loop. I can also see in my PPC search term reports that every keyword with the word would in it gets a lot of clicks, but very low sales. So why would I have a high click-through rate but low conversion rate for every keyword with would in it? And by the way, you can see this if you segregate the campaigns the way I'm about to teach you guys. Now, why would that be? You have to draw insights from it. Now, let me open up my thumbnail, open up my listing and find out, okay, why is this? Oh, it's because the wood is highlighted in the primary image, but nowhere in my actual listing content am I talking about the fact that this is made from organically sourced fair trade maple. And now I know. So I had an issue. I was getting lots of clicks for a particular buyer intent, but I wasn't getting conversions. That's what you want to solve. That's where the real magic happens. And that's what we call your specific click-through rate and your specific conversion rate, rather than what would be called your conversion rate and your click-through rate. That's what we call your general click-through rate and your general conversion rate. This is where it gets super juicy. Okay. So if you guys want to screenshot this, that's cool. Like I said, I keep it on my desktop. This whole concept is basically like the core to the magic that we use to produce the results that we have with our partners. That's why we've become one of the biggest monthly spending Amazon verified ads partners in the space, is because we've mastered how to run this loop in both directions. So highly recommend you guys save that. Cool. All right. Another way to segregate where ads show up and where, I'm not even going to say ads, but placements show up on Amazon is search-based ads and browse-based ads. So here's two examples of this to make it super clear. Google is all search-based. Well, not actually true. Google's display network is all browse-based, but most of what people think are Google ads are search-based ads. So you search a term in Google, and the first 4 or 5 results are going to be actually ads, not real results. The rest of them are organic results. So the search ads include sponsored product ads, sponsored brand ads, and the sponsored brand video ads are sponsored brand ads, but I wanted to put it in there particularly because it's so powerful. The browse ads are basically product placements. So there's product placement ads in sponsored products, there's product placements in sponsored brands, and there's product placements in sponsored display. In fact, all of sponsored display, nearly all of sponsored display is browse-based. It just shows up on listings. There is a little section inside search sometimes, and also Amazon's homepage, but a vast majority of sponsored display is browse-based. And then you have product placement ads. So the one we want to focus on, and by the way, Amazon Posts and Amazon Live Video are actually technically part of Amazon's advertising platform. They're just free. So people don't think of them as ads, but for those of you guys that are low budget out there, they actually are technically considered by Amazon as part of their advertising network. And they show up in similar places. So Amazon Live Video and Amazon Posts also show up in browsing areas on Amazon. Amazon Posts shows up on other listings. It shows up on storefronts. So if you're really low budget and you need to be scrappy, these are definitely ones that you will want to focus on, but we're not going to be talking that much about them today. So with all these different placements, let's simplify which ones we're going to focus on. We're really during a launch going to focus mostly on search, and even within search, we're going to focus mostly on sponsored products. Now, the only caveat to that is if you have the ability to produce good video content, also adding sponsored brand video that targets the same keywords that are working well in sponsored products can be absolute money. That works great. And inside sponsored products, even going further down, what is the highest leverage thing we could do is focus on keyword targeting inside sponsored products. You could target either keywords or products inside sponsored products. We're going to be focusing on the keyword targeting because that's what drives the most ranking, which is the primary goal that we have while we are in the launching phase. All right, guys, so let's jump into actually screen sharing how to set up some of these campaigns. And I'm also going to show you how to find the targets that you use to create the campaigns from in the first place. So let's jump in. Hope you guys are still awake. So you're going to go into Seller Central, click campaign, click advertising. That's going to pull up a page and then click create a new campaign. That's going to pull up a page that looks like this. You're going to see these three ad types: sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. We're going to click on sponsored products. Then we're going to see a page that looks like this. I'm going to come back to how to set your daily budget. There's a particular formula for that. I'm also going to come back to the bidding. But this is the type of campaign that we want to focus on. So you're going to click manual targeting, not automatic targeting, but manual targeting. You don't need an end date. The portfolio should be the name of the product, and all of your campaigns for the product should be in that portfolio. So you're going to click manual targeting, and then you're going to click keyword targeting. And for those of you guys that have done this plenty of times, don't lose me here. I'm going to go into the advanced stuff as well. This is just to get everyone on the same page, right? So you're going to click, and by the way, you'll probably learn something too for how to set these campaigns up properly. So you're going to click enter list, and then unclick phrase and broad, only click exact, and add your keywords in here. Now, what we're going to do, and I'm going to lay this out for you in a slide that you can screenshot later, is we're going to create between 5 and 15 single keyword campaigns for the keywords that we ahead of time found were the most likely to have high conversion with a high relevance, high traffic and high relevance. And I'm going to show you how to find those keywords in this presentation. But you're going to put just one keyword in here for between 5 and 15 campaigns. And those single keyword campaigns are going to drive they're going to take a lot of the ad spend, and they're going to drive a lot of the ranking. For the remaining keywords, because we're going to come up with between 80 and 200 keywords in the keyword research process. For the remaining keywords, we're going to segregate them by what we call shopper intent. And you're going to create one of these campaigns with every keyword that has that same shopper intent in it. Okay. So like, again, 5, and I'm going to have a slide that details all this, so don't worry about writing it down. 5 to 15 campaigns with the most important keywords with just a single keyword in the campaign. So that campaign is only about that one keyword. Then you're going to have anywhere between half a dozen and a dozen campaigns with multiple keywords in it, all in the same family. Another way to say that you might have heard if you've seen other presentations like this is semantic core, but we call it the keyword family, or the shopper intent. So this is the basic setup. Now, in terms of what to bid, because once I actually click this button, add keywords, it's going to ask me what I'm going to bid for. Now, First of all, I'll start by saying the starting bid doesn't actually matter that much because you're going to be adjusting the bid as time goes on. You don't really need to like stress too much about the starting bid. You're going to know really quickly if the bid is wrong, because if it's too high, you're going to spend all your budget in the first like 5 hours of the day, or you're just going to have a really bad ACoS and you're going to find out that term isn't good for you. So one or the other is going to happen, and you're going to notice that quickly if you're checking your PPC every day. And if it's too low, you're just not going to be getting impressions and you won't spend your budget anyway. So it's going to become clear to you whether the bid is good or not very quickly. That's why the starting bid doesn't actually matter as much as people think. The bid, the real magic comes in the adjusting of the bid over time. That's what actually matters. But in any case, to start to calculate the starting bid, what I don't recommend is taking Amazon's suggestion. Their suggestion is, I mean, you can spell this out yourself. I'm not going to curse on this video that's going to be posted on YouTube, but you get the idea. It's not the best, and it's not in your best interest. So how do you calculate your starting bid? Well, this is the calculation that we use. So your starting bid is your target ACoS times your product price times your conversion rate. So if my product is $40 and my conversion rate is 10%, I'm going to multiply my product times my conversion rate to come up with this, like, essentially cost per click that I can handle. So if I want to be able to spend $40 to get 10 clicks to my listing so I can make $40, then I am going to start my bid at $4. So a 10% conversion rate means 1 out of 10 people are going to buy my product, right? So that means I can just divide my product price by 10 to find out what's the max amount I could spend to get someone to buy my product if I wanted to spend all of my revenue getting someone to buy the product. Obviously, that's not ideal. But I hope you guys are following this. If you're not following the logic behind it, that's okay. Just blindly use the calculation. This is the calculation you want to follow. Your target ACoS times your product price times your conversion rate. So, by the way, conversion rate is known on Amazon as unit session percentage rate. And you can find this inside your business reports. So unit session percentage rate is what we call conversion rate. So if my target ACoS is 50%, my price is $40 for my product, and my unit session percentage averages 10%, then my starting bid is going to be $2, because that's what I'm willing to pay in order for me to hit my target ACoS of 50% at this product price with this conversion rate. I'm willing to spend half of what I would have to spend to get all of it. I hope this is like connecting with you guys, because once you actually like understand this logically, it makes sense. Like, if 1 out of 10 people who click on my page buy my product and my product is $40, that means I need 10 clicks to make $40. So how much do I bid for those 10 clicks? Well, if I bid $1 for those 10 clicks, then I'm only going to spend $10 to make that $40 sale. But that might not be realistic, because that would mean my ACoS is 25%. I hope you guys are following this. Some people get lost in the math. End of the day, you could just blindly follow this formula. Just find out what your conversion rate is, multiply it by your product price, and then the target ACoS is the key. So you might be wrong about your target ACoS. If you think, okay, I want to spend $1 to make $4, i.e., I want my ACoS to be 25%. So for every $25 I spend, I make $100 in revenue. You might have that as the target, but then you set that and it turns out it's not viable. It's not practical. You're just not getting the conversions you thought, or Amazon is not giving you the impressions at that bid, and then you just have to up it. But this is how you have a starting bid that actually makes sense. It's actually sensible to you, rather than Amazon suggested bid, which can be absolutely wild sometimes. Like, sometimes you'll see suggested bid $7, and you're like, what? It's crazy. So that's how you calculate starting bid. In terms of calculating your ranking campaign budget, that's different. So for this, you have to know what your assumed tacos is. So ahead of time, if you know how many units you want to sell, let me go back there. How many units you want to sell, what your assumed tacos is, or what your expected tacos is, and you know the price of the product, all you have to do is multiply your expected units sold times the price of your product times the assumed tacos. So if you want to hit 30 units a day, that's your target because you know that's what you need to hit to rank for a keyword. And you're expecting or budgeting to spend 30% of your total revenue on ads, and the price of your product is $20, that means your daily budget total is $180. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Again, if it doesn't, you can just blindly follow the formula. But the next question is, how do I determine how many units per day should my target be? And how do I determine my assumed ACoS or my target ACoS? And the reality is you're not going to know with 100% certainty up front with a new product that you launch. You have to make some judgments. So what this exercise does is it makes you kind of do the math. It makes you think, okay, well, if I want to hit 30 units a day, that's 900 units a month. So 900 units a month at $20 per unit is going to be, what is that, 18,000 a month in revenue. That's what I'd be making if I hit this target that I'm thinking I'll hit. So how much of that am I willing to spend on ads? Well, 30% of 18,000. No, I can't do this math in my head. That'd be something like 5,500 or something like that. That's my approximate monthly budget. Now, all I have to do is divide that by the number of days in the month, and now I have my daily budget. And that is the budget that you're going to spread across these ranking campaigns, with a lot of it going towards the high volume, high relevance keywords. Approximately 60% of your budget plus should be going to single keyword, exact match, sponsored product campaigns, and especially the ones that are really optimized for top of search. Okay. So, by the way, we're going to get into actually how to do the keyword research for these. But first, I'm going to talk about, once you have these campaigns set up in the way that we were screen sharing before, how do you actually manage them over time? So the three key things you need to do is adjust your bids, adjust your bid modifiers, and isolate and negate keywords. Those are like the basic responsibilities. There are a lot of other optimizations you can make as well. And when you get into sponsored brand, you get into split test and custom creative and all that kinds of stuff. But the 80-20 of this is just adjusting bids, adjusting bid modifiers, and isolating, graduating, and negating keywords. That's the 80-20 of it. So starting with placements, this is something a lot of people get wrong. So this is the kind of loop that we have here. So you're going to see if you're getting top of search placements, which you can see right inside the campaign view. It's going to show you what your top of search impression share is. Generally, a good target for that is about 30%. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I have a screenshot that'll show you exactly where to find this. But it's a metric called top of search IS, top of search impression share. During a launch, for your most important keywords, you are going to try to target about 30% top of search impression share. And that means that 30% of the placements are actually getting to the top of search, rather than a minority like 2% or 5% or something like that. You don't want that, because that means that not a lot of your placements are going to the top of search. And the top of search has the highest click-through rate and the highest conversion rate. It also happens to be the most expensive. But you need to have a significant amount of top of search placements in order for you to rank properly. Most of the time. There are some exceptions, but most of the time. So if you're not, then you need to increase the top of search bid adjuster, which will increase your impression share, top of search impression share, which then will increase your sales for that keyword and will then increase your ranking for the keyword. If you're not, then you need to go back and increase the top of search bid adjuster again. And how do you do that? Oh, well, I have the screenshot in one of the next slides. So give me a second here. Okay, and what do you do if the top of search cost per clicks are too expensive and you just can't afford the top of search placements? Fine. If you really can't afford those top of search clicks, don't even go for them. Just forget about them. A lot of brand owners get obsessed with this, where they saw some webinar or part of some mastermind where they say the only way to rank is to only have top of search placements in your PPC campaigns. That is not true. We have done plenty of ranking launches and re-ranks where we didn't rely on top of search placements to rank. Rest of search placements rank, sponsor brand video helps you rank, and generally increasing sales velocity for a product anyway all helps you rank. You can rank with no PPC at all. People literally rank just by sending massive blasts to email lists, and they can rank. So if that's possible, then it's definitely possible for you to rank with PPC without top of search. Is it important? Yes. Does it have the highest click-through rate? Yes. Does it have the highest conversion rate? Yes. All those things are true, and that's why it's so powerful to help you with ranking. But is it also the most expensive placement on Amazon? Yes. Does it have the highest CPCs? Yes. So it's not always the best way to go if you're losing your shirt just to try to get that placement because the cost per clicks are like $7 each. That's nuts. Sometimes you got to just follow the data. And this is where optimizing the bid adjusters comes into place. So I'm going to show you what a bid adjuster is in case some of you guys aren't familiar, and how to adjust it and what data to use to adjust it. Okay, so inside your Amazon Ads console, once you click on a campaign, you're going to see a little button here that says placements. If you click that button on the side that says placements, over here, you're going to see top of search, rest of search, and product pages. These are the three main placements in your sponsored product ads, in a sponsored product ad that your ad is showing on. Now, here's where if you're a little bit new to the Amazon advertising game, it gets confusing. If I targeted just one single keyword, why would I show on product pages? What does that have to do with a keyword? That's a great question. And no one really has the answer to this, but the answer is that Amazon will show you on both search and product pages, no matter what you target. So if you're targeting a keyword, you're going to show up for that keyword and you're going to show up on product pages. If you're targeting a product, you're going to show up on that product and you're going to show up on searches related to the product. You can't prevent Amazon from doing it, but you can influence how much of your placements go to these three different places. So remember how I said way back in the presentation, there's only three places on Amazon your ads can go? It's top of search, rest of search, or product pages. Well, this is where Amazon shows you the breakdown. So if you click a campaign and then you click this placements icon, now you can see all the data. You can see what are my orders for each of the placements, what are my sales from each of the placements, what's my ACoS for each of the placements. And the two main things you're going to be looking at are orders and ACoS, because you need orders coming to the placement for it to be worth anything. If you're not getting any orders, then it doesn't even matter what the ACoS is or the cost per click or anything is. There's just no orders coming from it, or there's no impressions or sessions coming to it, like we see in this case with product pages in the screenshot. But if you're getting a lot of orders at a super high ACoS, that's not good either. You know, that's now we're just dumping money down the toilet. So there needs to be a balance of enough volume coming through that placement and good economics, meaning a low enough ACoS. So in this case, I'm curious for you guys that are listening to this live, what would you do in this case when you see a top of search got 2 orders at a 15% ACoS, rest of search got 8 orders at a 21% ACoS, and product pages got absolutely no orders, and we don't even know what the ACoS is? Would you up the bid adjuster for top of search, up the bid adjuster for rest of search, up the bid adjuster for product pages, or do none of those things and just mess with the bid? What would you do? I want you to type it into the chat. I really want to know. I want to see what you guys are thinking. And what I'm going to do is go to the next slide. And then once I get some answers from it, I'm going to come back because I really want to hear what you guys would do. By the way, there's not necessarily a wrong or right answer to this. This comes down to the goals, your goal of the goal of the brand owner, the goal of you as the brand owner, and how aggressive you want to be. So you don't have to worry about being wrong, but I want to hear from you guys what you would do. Meanwhile, while I'm waiting for that, inside this same placements page, you scroll to the left and you can adjust what's called a bid adjuster for each of the placements. It used to be you only had one bid adjuster, and that's for top of search. You could basically tell Amazon. So what is a bid adjuster? Let me zoom out for a second. What this bid adjuster is it's how much you're giving Amazon the leeway to increase their bid. So we got top of search, do nothing, top of search and lower rest of search. And then we have, I have no idea yet. That's a very honest answer. Cool. Okay, so let me just go back to that screen. So the answer is, what would we do? We would ramp up rest of search because it's getting a lot of orders and we're really focused on volume. We would also ramp up top of search a little bit because it has really good ACoS and it's getting orders, but for whatever reason, rest of search seems to be generating a lot of orders. So we would ramp both of these. What we would definitely do is not ramp product pages. So I was looking for anybody that was going to answer that. And that was my catchphrase was going to be, that's the only answer that I would consider a wrong answer, because product pages doesn't really matter. It's totally fine that there's no placements here. Sometimes the knee-jerk reaction is, oh, I want to ramp up whatever's not getting impressions, whatever's not getting sales. Well, the thing is, during a launch, you really don't have to worry about product page impressions. It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. So how do you change the product placement, the bid modifier? You just click it in this field when you're in placements on the left-hand side. You can adjust it right here. And this is something that you want to do over time. You don't really have to set this up in the very beginning. You want to do it based on this data. So once you set up the campaigns that we talked through before, you set the bid, you set the budget properly. Now you're going to go into the campaigns regularly. You're going to check out which placements are doing well, and you're going to adjust the bid modifier based on the ones that are doing well to juice them more. So in this case, if the top of search pages have a low ACoS and a high CPC, I'm definitely going to increase that. If the rest of search also has a good ACoS, I'm going to juice that as well because it's working. I want to do more of what works. Product pages, I'm going to ignore that. But if I was getting a lot of product pages impressions, or if they were like the majority, I probably would decrease the bid overall for the campaign and then increase these other bid adjusters so that they're likely to get less impressions. That would be my main strategy there. So this is the view that you see when you just are in Campaign Manager. This is the metric that I was talking about before, top of search impression share. You want to shoot for, if you can, shoot for a top of search impression share of 30% as a general target. And if product placements are taking up impression share, just decrease the overall bid for that target or for that keyword and increase the top of search bid adjuster. And you just keep doing that over and over again until you get 30%. Now, sometimes, so what you don't want to do is like go crazy with it. It used to be that you could just immediately set the top of search bid adjuster to 900%. And it basically like guarantees that you show. Well, that doesn't really work anymore. It's actually better for you to incrementally increase this bid adjuster by like 30% or so. And you just keep coming back to it, keep adjusting it by another 30%. If you like go 0 to 100 and just do, because the max bid adjuster you can do is 900%. So it's a scale of 0 to 900%. But for whatever reason, Amazon doesn't really like you to do 900% all at once. It's better for you to do it incrementally like this. So shoot for 30%. And then, by the way, now what you can do is you right inside your campaign manager, you can see all of your campaigns and you can just adjust the top of search bid adjuster right there inside campaign manager, which is super great. So aim for 30%. Now here's some ninja stuff. So we talked about the feedback that you do once you create a ranking campaign is you're going in, adjusting the bids based on whether you're getting impressions or not, adjusting the bid modifier based on whether the placements that are performing best are showing, and adjusting up or down the bid with the placement modifier to make sure that the best performing placements are showing the most. But there's more feedback loops that you do based on the PPC that have nothing to do with the campaigns. So what you're also doing during these ranking campaigns is you're looking at what search terms have high traffic, high conversion rate, but low click-through rate. Meaning I get a lot of conversions from these keywords, but my click-through rate is actually below average for those keywords. And you can see this right in your search term reports. You can also see it in search query performance data. But what keywords have higher than average conversion, and they're getting plenty of conversions, but they're not getting a lot of clicks, or the click-through rate is below average? That's awesome. That's so awesome when you get that data like that, because it's very clear what you need to do. Now I know if the search terms, going back to the example that I had before, if the search terms that include the word wooden are getting lots of sales, but they're not getting lots of clicks, I know there's something wrong with my primary image, right? Because once people that search, so say I'm selling a tissue box cover for tissue boxes to make them look more chic, right? And mine is wooden. If it's so polished, the wood, that you can't tell that it's wood and it looks like it's polyester, but then once you click the listing, all the A+ content shows like the grain of the wood and how like quality it is, then everyone who lands on the listing is going to be sold, because they're going to be like, oh, this looks even better than the thumbnail. I'm definitely buying it. And what I wanted was something chic that like meshed with my home decor. But if you're not communicating that properly in the primary image, then you're losing all those people that are searching for that particular thing, a wooden one. There might be other search term families that are buying your product too. It might just be chic tissue box cover, or it might be black tissue box cover. That's a whole different family of keywords, and that we would want to do an analysis on too. But in this case, we're talking about how do we speak better to the people that want wooden, that's what they care about. Later, we can deal with how do we speak better to the people that want chic or shined or extra large or whatever the search term family is. I hope you guys are following me, because this is the real magic. When you dig this deep enough into the data and you use the PPC data, not just to optimize your PPC campaigns, but you use it to optimize your click-through rate and your conversion rate by seeing which search terms and search term families are getting clicks but no conversions, and which ones are getting conversions but no clicks. Dude, boom. You can't see me on camera because my camera freaking died, but we're going to get it back on. Mic drop moment. When you can do that, you're playing the game at a level that your competitors just are not going deep enough to do. And you are the smart and sophisticated launch person at that point. All right, so what's the opposite of this? The opposite is which search terms had high click-through rate but low conversion rate. So for these, it'll be the opposite example. What if wooden tissue holder is clear in my primary image and I get lots of clicks for it, but then when they click, they're not converting at as high of a percentage as my other primary keywords. Okay. Well, obviously there's something in my listing that's not communicating to those people, that what they really care about is the wooden nature of it, the material. Whereas other people might be problem focused or solution focused or feature focused or accessory focused. These guys are focused on the material. I'm not communicating it enough in my A+ content, in my secondary images, in my brand story, in my bullet points, in my top voted reviews, all of that stuff. You can alter that based on this data. And the only way to do that is to segregate your campaigns by either single keywords or keyword families. And I'm going to get into the actual keyword research process, and then we're going to talk about how to segregate the keywords in just a second. So foundations of success here. And I know I'm a little over time here, so I'm going to speed this up even more. Foundations of success. Your primary image is the most important. That's what wins the click. So you should spend like a huge amount of your energy, time, thinking, problem solving on your primary image. It's more important than you could even imagine, because that's what gets the click. This is what I was talking about before, where literally $100 million companies have been built off primary images. That's how important it is. Conversion should be above benchmark. Your review milestones are hitting 5, hitting 21, and hitting 100. And now this is super key. Your review rating has to be above 4.3 stars. And the reason is because once you dip below 4.3 stars, Amazon doesn't show that little gold star icon of 4.5, which is so key. Once you're not showing 4.5 little icons, little star icons, it's not good. It's not good. You can still do okay if you have the 4 icons, but it hurts you a lot. If you have anything less than 4, it's not even worth it. You're dead in the water. Unless it's a super legacy product that has been out there for a really long time or there's not much competition on it, even then, it's very difficult to do if you have below 4. But 4.3 is kind of the minimum. All right, now I'm going to speed through this part. I'm going to do it very quickly. So there'll be a replay. You guys can watch the replay if you want to. But this is really critical, which is how do I determine what keywords to start with? Now, obviously, once you start, you're going to be getting keywords from the PPC data back that you're going to then use. But how do you know where to start? Well, there's lab data and there's field data. What does that mean? So lab data is I'm in my little laboratory and I'm like coming up with hypotheses myself, not out in the real world. Field data is I'm out here on the battlefield and I'm generating data from my actual sales, my actual clicks, my actual experiences. So lab data is Amazon Product Opportunity Explorer, and some elements of brand analytics, but some of them actually you have to be selling to access. But Amazon's Product Opportunity Explorer is completely all hypothetical. Not hypothetical, it's real data from the marketplace, but it just has absolutely nothing to do with you. So unlike PPC search term reports, you can only download search term reports if you're actively selling. This is coming directly from your action out in the field. Whereas Amazon Product Opportunity Explorer, anybody can look at that. Everybody sees the same thing. But my PPC search term reports are specific to me. Does that make sense? So you need a mix of both of these. But before you launch a product, all you have access to is the lab data. Once you've launched, then you're generating sales and you're getting field data. Now, which of these data sources is more valuable? I really want to hear from you guys. Like, type it in the chat. While you're typing it, I'm going to answer. It's the field data. So the field data is a lot more valuable, and hopefully you guys already posted your answer so that you can't change it now. But the lab data is unfortunately all we have in the beginning because we're not selling yet. So we're not generating any data from our actual sales. So quick aside here, people get obsessed with the keyword search volume. That's not the only metric that matters. How relevant that search term is, and even other things like the average price point of that search term data. Okay, the answers are coming in. Everyone said field data. Nice job, guys. You guys are smart. The average purchase price of that term, on that term, the relevance of that traffic, how general it is versus how specific it is, the conversion rate of that traffic generally, and then the specific conversion rate of that traffic for your product, and the intent to buy of the traffic. Some terms are more browsy. even just people that search travel pillows, they're trying to browse a bunch, right? Versus travel pillow, they really just want to solve their problem. Just that little S makes all the difference. And somebody searching car accessories has a very different idea in mind of how they want to spend their time on Amazon than someone who's searching for car fire decals for Mustang. That guy knows what he wants. Someone searching car accessories, they just want to click on a bunch of stuff. So you're going to have a lot of different search terms, and some of them might have high traffic, some of them have low traffic, but it's not all about the traffic. It's about all of this stuff. So keyword research then and now. Before, it was Amazon.com, analysis tools, Google Trends, Google Keyword Planner, Pinterest, Etsy, stuff like that. Now, Amazon gives us the data. So we got Product Opportunity Explorer, which is an epic source of keywords. Brand Analytics right inside Amazon Seller Central, another epic source. Search Query Performance, Amazon.com. And then importantly, when you don't have sales data, is analysis tools like AMZScout. And you can still try other platforms like Google Keyword Planner or seeing what's being searched on Etsy, Pinterest, and stuff like that. But that's less relevant now. Now that we have data directly from Amazon, we really don't need to mess with that stuff much anymore. It's really using keyword tools before you've launched and using Product Opportunity Explorer before you've launched. And then once you've launched, you can use your Amazon search term reports. So just a funny little exercise here that I use to explain this idea is if I have two keywords, one of them has 15,000 searches a month, one of them has 2,000 searches a month. They're both high relevance. They both have medium competition. You'd think keyword one is worth more to me. It's high relevance, medium competition. It's got way more searches a month. But in this case, there's one missing field here, which is the average price point of this product. And in this case, the average price point on keyword two is $300. The average price point on keyword one is $15. So keyword two might be commercial hand blender, where people are buying like legit big commercial blenders. And then keyword one might be like travel hand blender. And people are buying like the chintzy little ones that can only do lemons. That's a huge difference, right? This keyword is actually worth more to obviously have to be relevant. But this keyword is obviously worth more because a click from this keyword is worth way more than a click from that keyword. So the CPCs are going to be different. The average revenue per click is going to be different. Okay, so we're going to walk through some of AMZScout's keyword tools in future slides. We're going to not do a live demo or run really low on time here, but I'm going to show you how their keyword research tools work. But what I'm going to give you now is a framework for how to do the keyword research. So again, I'm going to speed up. I know I'm a little low on time, and I'm going to be able to turn back on my camera in a second here. I think I figured out what the problem was. But we've got main tail keywords, mid tail keywords, and long tail keywords. Main keywords are the highest volume keywords. They typically have the lowest relevance. So the word blender in the example we were talking about before, that'd be main keyword. It might have 300,000 searches a month. Mid tail keywords might be 2 or 3 words. They're more relevant. This is kind of the sweet spot. So they still have a lot of search volume. They might have 5,000. They might have 10,000 searches a month. They might have 8,000 searches a month. Maybe big mid-tail keywords that have 20, 30,000 searches a month. These ones are relevant to us. So that might be, like we were saying before, commercial immersion blender or hand blender for fruit, stuff like that. That'd be mid-tail keywords. Long-tail keywords are the hundreds upon or thousands and thousands of keywords that have low search volume, but in aggregate, they still actually together have a significant amount of search volume. So that'd be like ergonomic, custom, stainless steel hand blender for chefs. That's a lot of words and it's really specific and it doesn't get that much search volume, but maybe it gets 200 searches a month. And that would be one of our long tail keywords. So that's the difference between those. You want to find the keywords that have a mix of volume and relevance. If you go too far to one end of the scale, you don't have enough volume. If you go too far to the other end of the scale, it's not relevant enough for you for it to be economical. So you got to find something in the middle. So main keywords are 1 to 2 words, high competition, high search volume. Mid-tail keywords are 2 to 4 words, medium competition, medium search volume. And long tail keywords are 2 to 7 words, low competition, low search volume. This is the sweet spot. You want to get those ones that have plenty of volume, but they're also not so general that you're not going to be able to convert at a low enough A cost. Now, here's one critical piece of advice I'm going to give you guys is choose 5 and let these be sort of your indicator keywords of how your whole launch is doing. Usually there's going to be like anywhere between 2 to 5 keywords that are like your big breadwinners. Sometimes it can be up to 10 or 15. It depends on the product. Some products, really, there's just one keyword. That's all you really care about. I've had a product like this. I've had plenty of products like that where you really just focus on that one keyword. But most of the time, there's going to be some small handful of about half a dozen keywords that they indicate your success broadly. So choose 5. These are going to go in your keyword tracker and you're going to track them over time. And that's going to be how you know whether the launch is going well or not. The success of these keywords will represent the success of all keywords and the product itself. So keywords fit into different buckets. There's search volume, or there's semantic core, buyer intent. And then, there are other like random things like branded search terms are important to know, misspells, and then negative keywords when you're negating keywords that you actually, they're the ones that you don't want. They're like anti-keywords. So what do I mean by search term family? And this is one of the most important parts of this presentation. So I really want you guys to pay attention heavily to this. So if I have a learning toy and a lot of people search STEM toys instead of learning toys, then that's going to be a semantic core for me, meaning I'm going to have STEM toys for 1-year-old, kids STEM toys for 1+-year-old, STEM toys for 6-year-old boys, STEM toys for kids, STEM toys for 5-year-old boys, STEM master building toys. All of that stuff has to do with STEM. I'm going to group those together and put them in one campaign. Why am I going to do that? Because doing that means that the performance of that campaign equals the performance of that buyer intent. If I don't do this and I instead group my keywords by search volume, I'm not getting the insights I need to make the necessary changes on my listing and my thumbnail from my PPC data, and I will hence fall behind further and further as my launch goes on. This is what most sellers do. I'm telling you guys, if you get this and you're listening to this right now and you actually implement it, you just got a competitive edge that at least 99 out of 100 of your competitors are not doing. Probably more. It might be more like 199 out of 200 or 499 out of 500 of your competitors are not doing, because most people miss this. I rarely see a new partner come in our doors that already has this set up, but it's like the ninja, like secret sauce to actually being able to hyper optimize your content for particular buyer intents. This is the next fractal level down, guys, that you have to go. And when everyone complains about how competitive Amazon has gotten and how many low-cost sellers there are in there, but somehow there's competitors that are making millions of dollars, right? Well, how are they doing it? You could be one of those guys if you got a level deeper into the data and you actually did the hard work of this kind of stuff, and this in particular, where you actually did deep enough keyword research to find out what the particular search term families are. And you're not trying to increase your click-through rate and conversion rate. You're trying to increase your specific click-through rate and your specific conversion rate for people searching for product for your mom, or people searching for Montessori, or people searching for toddler, or whatever your particular search term families are. And I'm going to show you guys how to segregate this out. That's the magic. I really hope you guys paid attention to that this is like one of the most important parts of this entire session that we're doing together. Okay, Product Opportunity Explorer. Let's briefly touch on this. Inside Growth Product Opportunity Explorer, there are multiple views for this. This screenshot is actually old. It looks a little bit different than that now. But Product Opportunity Explorer, if you click this button, search terms next to products, that's where you get the search term insight. And that's where you can find all of the search terms related to the product, what the volume is. And by the way, that's year volume. So you have to divide that by 12 to get the monthly volume. But if it's a seasonal product, you have to be careful with that because a lot of that volume comes in Christmas time. So you divide it by 12 to get a general idea of what the monthly volume is. But Amazon is literally forking over the data to you on what is the yearly volume of searches for that term. You could even click into the term and get even more insights. This is an absolutely excellent source of keywords, and it comes directly from Amazon, Product Opportunity Explorer. Not only is it showing you search volume, but it's showing you search conversion rate. This is one of the ways that you can benchmark if your conversion rate is good. What this number is out of all the people who search this term, how many people bought a product? So it's essentially like it's the conversion rate of searches to buys. And this is a really useful metric to help you guys benchmark your metrics. This table will help you like scrape the keywords from Product Opportunity Explorer so you can pull it into a spreadsheet. You need to do that. I mean, you can copy and paste it if you want, that's fine. But you need to copy these keywords into a spreadsheet. These keywords are super important because they come directly from Amazon. And I'm going to show you what the template of that spreadsheet looks like. So using a little Chrome extension like this can be helpful. This is the one I've used in the past. It doesn't really matter. You can copy and paste it, but you end up with a sheet like this. So you see my search term, my search volume, just copy it into a sheet, have all the data there. You have all the keywords there from Product Opportunity Explorer. I'm going faster here, guys, because I'm realizing I'm super behind on time. All right, using a keyword research tool. Obviously, I'm going to walk through what AMZScout looks like so that you guys can know how to use a keyword research tool a little bit further on in this presentation near the end. So I'll come back to that. Search query report. So the search query report is really a great feedback tool. Not only does it give you keyword level data, but you also can sort by brand count and compare your brand share data from each stage of the funnel to see where the issue is in the funnel. So once you're selling, you're going to be able to see, does my product have a higher share of clicks, but a lower share of conversions for this particular term? Boom, I know where the problem is. So you don't even have to download your PPC reports to get the data. You can literally see it directly in Search Query Performance Report, where it will show you where are you getting an undue number of clicks, but a lower than average conversion. And where are you getting an undue amount of conversions, but a lower than average click? And now I can find out why that is. So anyone who's like, oh, it's not fair. Like I have a lower than average conversion rate, lower than average click-through rate, or my ACoS is super high. I'm not getting enough organic orders. Amazon is telling you exactly what you need to do about that. So the only reason you're not doing it is because you're not acting on it. If you look in the search query, the performance report, and I think I have a screenshot of it here. Yeah, this is where it shows you. So you can see search funnel impressions, search funnel clicks, and then to the right of that, it says search funnel purchases. And I see, this is the number you want to look at, brand share. If my brand share is higher in clicks, but it's lower in conversions, that means I'm getting lots of clicks from that search term, but they're not converting once they click for some reason. Now I know why. Okay, so when they search flip chart paper, it's not converting even though they click. Even though when they search flip chart, it is converting when they click. Maybe it's not clear enough that this is not a whiteboard, this is a paper flip chart or whatever. You get the insight from actually looking at this data. This is a little GIF, but that's not going to show. Okay, so like I said, I skipped over a big part of this, which is the keyword research tool, but I am going to show you guys what how to aggregate the keywords, and later we'll talk through how to use AMZScout as a keyword research tool. But it's important that you aggregate keyword data from multiple sources: Product Opportunity Explorer, Brand Analytics, and a keyword research tool like AMZScout, among other sources. It's good for you to have multiple sources of your keywords. But just to talk through before we get into what a keyword sheet looks like, this is a reminder for some of you. For some of you guys, you might not already know this, which is proper campaign structure is putting each portfolio as a product and each campaign as a goal. So portfolios is products, campaigns is goals. That's a good structure. Okay, so what this screenshot is right here is a screenshot of the sheet that we use to organize keywords. So what this sheet does is it allows you to aggregate your keywords from every source and then segregate it into different categories based on your shopper intent. This is the magic I was talking about before, guys. So make sure you pay attention to this. Now I know this is like really small and not zoomed in. I normally would play like a little GIF or a video of this, but I can't do that right now because these are static slides. But I'm happy to give this to you guys if you like, and I'm happy to share it with you. The important thing is, no matter how you do this, the important thing is to take all the keywords that you get from all your different sources and then analyze them manually. And you can also use ChatGPT to help with this, but analyze them to find the different search term families that they fit in. And so I have an example on the next screen here that I'm going to share with you guys. And let me just see real quick if I can turn my video back on so you guys can see my pretty face here. Dang, still no. I don't know what happened there. That is so annoying. All right, well, it is what it is. You can still hear my pretty voice even though you can't see my pretty face. So on the next screen, I'm going to show you what this actually looks like. Oh, no, I think it's the next. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so take a look at this. This should be zoomed in enough for you to see it. Once you aggregate keyword data from these different sources, you're going to see, okay, so you actually can't see it in this view. Let me see if the next view, can't see it. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to explain it to you. So aggregate the keyword data from different sources, search and report, product opportunity explorer, a tool like AMZScout, and then separately, I'm happy to share this sheet with you guys. You just email this email down in the lower left and I'll share the sheet. Normally this is like a moving GIF, but since these are static slides, I can't show it to you. You're basically going to pull out all of the families. So even if you look at this, let's do it right now. So if I look at this, I already am seeing some categories. So what this is a walker basket, but some people call it a tray. So there's a bunch of keywords for tray, walker tray, or walker accessory tray. Then there's a lot for bag, walker bag, bags for walkers. Then there's a lot for caddy, walker caddy, caddy for walkers, walker caddy bag, walker caddy storage. Then there's a lot for basket, baskets for walkers for seniors, walker accessory. So all of these are different search term families. And what you're going to do is pull search terms into their particular family. And that family of search terms will get its own campaign. And now you can get the data from that campaign and use that to optimize the performance of the campaign. Okay, so to set up the campaigns, you want one portfolio per product, one campaign per goal, exact match campaigns for each primary keyword, one campaign per keyword for higher volume keywords. For lower volume keywords, you can group them by semantic core. Then you're going to have broad match campaigns a few weeks into the launch that continue to generate new keywords for you. And later on, you're going to have auto campaigns. Okay, so this is something you could take a screenshot of right here, guys. This is the campaign structure that you want to implement. There's the sponsored product, exact match, single keyword launch campaigns. You're going to have between 5 and 15 of these. That's what we just screen shared through how to set up. Then the sponsored product, exact match, multi-keyword launch campaigns organized by keyword family. That's what we were just screen sharing through in the last slide there. So you can have anywhere between 8 and 20 keywords in each of those campaigns, and they're longer tail keywords, but they're organized by family or buyer intent. Then you're going to have exact match offensive product targeting campaigns. Now, this is a small minority of ad spend. Most of your ad spend is going to go to these top two. but some of your ad spend will also go to these offensive product targeting campaigns. And we didn't go deep into this. This is a whole other science. It's not a huge part of the launch, but the basic idea here is you find other ASINs, other products that you have a better offer than, and you target those with product targeting ads. And sometimes you can get a lot cheaper clicks. Most of the time, you get a lot cheaper clicks with product targeting ads, but you don't always get a great ACoS. So it depends. You have to test it out for yourself. Then exact match defensive product targeting campaigns. This everyone should have is just basically a foundation. If you have multiple products, you should always be advertising your products on each other's products. Even if they're not that relevant, you're at least keeping someone else from advertising on your product. So you might as well. We call that defensive product targeting campaigns. You advertise your products on one another's products. And to do that, all you do is input the ASIN of your other product inside product targeting for the one product that you want to advertise. Then there's self-targeted product targeting campaigns. This means that you're targeting the same product that you're advertising. This is a little hack. I have a video on this for those of you guys that are curious about it. You can get very low ACoS sales with this. You won't get a high volume of sales. It's going to be pretty low, but you can get very low ACoS sales. It's called step campaigns, self-targeted product placement campaigns. And you start a campaign, you click manual targeting, you click product targeting, and then you input just one ASIN as the target, which is the same ASIN you're advertising. And that catches Amazon in a catch-22 because they won't show an ad for a product on that product's own page. It's like a inception moment. So what they do is they show it to people who clicked on the page and then clicked off. So it's kind of like instant retargeting, and it can work really, really well. Super powerful. Then finally, you'll have a sponsored brand exact match single or multi-keyword launch campaign. So if you have the capacity to create sponsored brand video, a video asset, this can be super powerful as part of a launch. So that's the foundation. This is it, guys. These are all the campaigns that you need for a launch. This is literally it. You can screenshot this. This is all you need to do for a launch. This is the launch formula here. Only after these have been running, then you can spin up broad match campaigns and phrase match campaigns. Make sure to negate keywords that don't perform well off the bat, all the negative keywords you come up with in your keyword analysis. And then, only then do you spin up auto campaigns that allow Amazon the leeway to just go out and find keywords for you. So yeah, that is the structure. All right. I hope you guys screenshotted this. So for each product, you're going to have something between 15 and 25 campaigns. For some of you, that might sound like a lot. For others of you, you might be like, oh, that's very few. But that's generally what you're looking at with a product launch. The breakdown in ad spend will be about 70% ad spend on sponsored products, about 30% ad spend on sponsored brands. We have launches that go different, but this is just generally what you're looking at. We had one launch where it was like 2/3 of the launch budget was going towards sponsored brands because the video ads were doing so well and they were driving ranking. And then we have other launches where they have no sponsored brand at all, just because we don't have any assets. We don't have any videos to run. So, it all depends on your situation, but this is generally the breakdown that you're going to be looking at. All right. If things go wrong, if you're not converting for a mid-tail keyword, don't bail on it yet. Try to go even deeper. It might mean that you're too broad still. So if I thought blender was my main keyword, but hand blender was my mid-tail keyword that I was trying to get into, and it turns out for hand blender, I'm paying a huge ACoS and the cost per clicks are so huge. Well, I'm going to try to go even more specific. So if mine is American made, I'm going to go hand blender American made. Or if mine has the ergonomic grip, I'm going to go ergonomic grip hand blender and try to go a level deeper. So if you're not able to pay the ACoS, or you're thinking the cost per clicks are way too high, you're probably focusing too much of your ad spend on these broad keywords. You need to reallocate more of your ad spend to the specific keywords and try to max them out. So if you're like, oh, well, I am focusing on ergonomic hand blender, but I only make 15 sales a week on it. It's like not moving the needle. Well, you probably haven't maxed it out. Do you have a product? Do you have a top of search optimized sponsored product? Have you optimized rest of search for the keyword? Have you tried a headline sponsored brand ad for the keyword? Have you tried a video search ad for the keyword? When you find a keyword that works well, you should be maxing it out with every possible ad type and juicing that sucker before you give up or you think that it's too low volume. So it really just comes down to doing the work and going deep enough to get the results. We talked about getting a balance between high relevance and high traffic. And again, if you're paying too much, the CPCs are too high, you probably just haven't gone deep enough. You have to go a level deeper to, even if you have to change your image and change your keywords, even if you have to be like, all right, I'm just going to commit here to my product is for kids now, or maybe I'm only going to kowtow to people who are looking for over the ear or whatever. And then you tailor your product image and you tailor your product listing all to that particular niche because it's the only one you could afford the clicks on, and you just try to dominate it instead of just continuing to lose money with all the broad keywords. All right, here's some examples. This is a launch we initiated. By the end of day 60, it was profitable. We had a 15.9% ACoS at that time at the end of the 60th day. So I only put this in here because I feel like I kind of scare people when I talk about how you're not going to make money in the beginning of a launch. It's a 30 to 90 day window where if you have a good product and you're not getting trash reviews, like you should be hitting a break-even tacos by some point in that time. So this was a launch. I think this was the kitchen gear, the camping gear. This is in the camping outdoor space that we did. That's one of our brands. Here's another brand in the gift space. Oh no, this is the same space where we hit position 1 50 days into the launch for one of the primary keywords with a lot of search volume. We hit another keyword with a lot of search volume, portable shower. We hit position 1 within 49 days. So it's totally possible. This is another product in the fitness category. Second week, we were doing 100 units a week. By week 4, we were doing 314 units a week. And we had 20 keywords ranked page 1 with that had search volume over 1,000 searches per month. This was profitable by week 4. So this was, again, this doesn't always happen, but it does happen. And if you have a good product, it really helps. This was a gift product, kind of like a gag gift product. We had search terms that had 100,000 searches a month that we were ranked top of the page within 2 months. Here's another product where we went from day 1. We went from not ranking at all to ranking number 2 in 11 days by running these protocols. Now, they're not, like I said before, you either spend time or you spend money. To get some of these results, we were very aggressive with the spend and we knew our targets ahead of time, but we did it. We knew the product was good. We knew that once we ranked, we would have a high click-through rate and conversion because we'd already done our homework ahead of time. And that's why we succeeded. So it's all based on the amount of preparation you do and whether you're willing to spend time or money to get the result. I recommend measuring every day. This screenshot that I'm sharing right now is actually from a mastermind called Titan Network, where I've been a mentor for a very long time. During a launch period, it's key to measure metrics every day. Now, you don't have to measure all this. I actually have a template for this. You guys are welcome to email me for it. I'm happy to provide it. But measuring the keyword ranking of your top 4 search terms, measuring the units ordered, the organic versus PPC units ordered, what your ACoS was, what your tacos was, how many reviews you got, what your review star rating is, measuring it and look, this takes a VA 10 minutes to input all this data each day. It costs you basically nothing. The only reason not to do this is out of laziness. So get a sheet like this. I'm happy to send you my template, or this is an old template from the mastermind that I was mentioning before. Happy to share. I'll link to the mastermind too, if you guys are interested in that. But measure it some way, whether you use this sheet, whether you use your own sheet, whether you use a tool like Sellerboard, which is a great tool for measuring data. Measure, because what gets measured gets managed. Huge. So here's a little shot that you can see of AMZScout's Amazon keyword search tool. This gives you thousands of relevant search terms for your listing. And this is what I was referring to earlier. This is why I didn't screen share through the keyword research tool, because I'm showing it to you now. So you can see here, somebody's typed in towel, and now it's showing beach towel, bath towel, paper towel. You can put in a search term, or you can do reverse ASIN lookup, where you put in an ASIN and then search terms, you generate search terms from it. And then this is what you add into that keyword master sheet that I was talking about before. You add this into that keyword master sheet, that becomes your central place, and then you segregate that into the search term families like we talked about earlier. The reverse ASIN lookup is where you put in the competitors' ASINs, and it pulls out the keywords that that competitor is ranking for. And this is super powerful, because this keeps you from having to do all the work yourself. This is actually one of the primary things you're going to do during your keyword research, is put in the ASINs of your top 10 competitors and pull their ranking keywords. Then you're going to sort them out and find out which ones are relevant, add them to your keyword master list, and then later segregate them. So it's very, very powerful. Then you have a keyword tracker, this is going to track the ranking of the keyword over time. And this is not only for your product, but you can do this for competitors' products, so you can see how you stack up. So you monitor the keyword ranking positions in Amazon for any product by putting in the ASIN, and break down the keyword ranking by page and by position for multiple keywords. So that view allows you to see it all in one place. You can visualize keyword position changes over time. So it shows you a graph that changes over time. And they're literally taking this data hour by hour on all 12 Amazon marketplaces. All right, so this is new. AMZScout's AI listing builder. This will literally build a listing for you. Now, obviously, you're not going to like load this up like as is, but it's going to give you a huge starting point, and it's going to help you to get 80% of the way there. So you're not starting from scratch every time, which is really helpful, right? And then you get the Pro extension, which allows you to just in Chrome, naturally in your normal browser, just see trends, sales volume, and the quality of your competition. And it even scores it for you, so you know which niches are good, which niches are bad, which ones to stay away from, because it aggregates all the data and just gives you an overall score. So when doing new product launches and new product research, this is super duper powerful. Then you get the product database, which helps you find great product opportunities. AMZScout has already done the work for you. You can segregate it by category. You can segregate it by price point. You can segregate it by average review rating. There are all kinds of filters that you can put into this, so you only find the product opportunities that match your requirements based on your space, your price point, what you're willing to spend on your launch budget, and anything else that you think will really give you an X factor. So all of that you're going to get. This is where I'm going to show you guys exactly what this competitor keyword research sample looks like. I'm going to screen share my screen for a second here. This is literally 33 pages. So if I was to go through all this, it would take me another hour. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but just so you guys can see how valuable this is and how much information is in here. This report is showing me all the keywords for the product, what their search volume is. I go in here and I'm actually getting insights about the average price for the products on page 1, the search relevancy, how many of them are utilizing A+ content, which ones are FBM and which ones are FBA. I see other data like this. This is literally like a custom report that's generated for you. You'd have to like pay a company to create this for you. It has graphs. It's got the whole history. It tells you all about page 1 search results. It's got the breakdown of the different semantic cores like we discussed before, the history of the search volume, if it's trending up or down. You get a ton of data in these reports. So yeah, this report is going to allow you to improve the position of your product among Amazon search results, because you're going to have the data necessary to make good decisions. You can optimize your ad spend and not overspend on bad terms, because you'll know them up front, because this report tells you which terms to avoid. And it's going to help your team members not have to work to do all of that work that we just went through in this presentation. to put together all of that keyword research data. It's just done for you.